Well, hello everybody. Welcome to 2014. I hope you've all had a great Christmas and New Year and all the other different things that you might celebrate over this solstice time. Now, here we are again. New things, too many things to consider, but the one that jumped out to me as I was looking through was in neuropharmacology. And I do a lot, as you know, in genetics and epigenetics, and here was an article on the genetics of epigenetics. Now, I mean, of course we produce epigenetic proteins through gene expression, but I just hadn't really thought about it. So this is a really great paper, and it's talking particularly about cognitive deficits and how you can have just simple changes in the genetic code that produces epigenetic changes that when you have mutation in there, even as much as just single nucleotide polymorphisms, the SNPs, that you can actually find the cause or the reason or one of the nature supports for the cause and process of cognitive deficit. So this is a really interesting paper. Let me see these lovely people. I feel sometimes terribly remiss in not being able to pronounce things, but I think it's Jiski Kleefstra and co. Now at this point it's just an in-press article, so this is hot, so it'll be coming out shortly. There's it's 47 pages long, but actually it's only about 12 or 15 pages of text, and then there's lots of stuff about genetics and genes, which may or may not interest you, interests me, but specifics about that. But it also gives you a really nice, neat little look into the types of changes, the histone changes, the methylation at what's called CPG points. They're really good, so another way to look in there. Look that one up if you can get in. There'll be stuff, so neuropharmacology, and this is in the in-press articles in their January 13th edition. Now, a couple of things coming up. Some good friends of mine doing things. GAINS is taking my attention, the Global Association of Interpersonal Neurobiology Studies. Dan Siegel, as you know, the main exponent of that, but of course many of us around the world are now doing it. And so the GAINS organisation, which is mindgains.org, so mindgains.org is the website, and we're sort of the professional organisation. Now I'm on the board of that, and my good friend Deborah Pierce-McCall, who's our president of the organisation, she's going to be doing a webinar. Now this is sort of zip in quick because we need to know in the next few days. It's going to be on January 28th. But if we can know by January 20th, that'd be good, but I'm sure we'll take some latecomers as well. And she's titling it Trinocular Vision Healing. Now, when we talk about trinocular, tri-vision, tri-perspective, this is the triangle we talk about in interpersonal neurobiology of mind, brain, and relationships. These three elements which are really non-reducible and require each other and work from and with each other in order to produce our experience and to produce our being. So that's really good. So go to MindGains. It's for members, so and I know there are a number of members here, but this is a real good stimulation to become a member, because when you become a member, there's lots of information, lots of webinars throughout the year. We've got lots of we've got a journal every year. You can get access to the previous journals, access to the previous seminars, and I don't know, it's about $100. It's pretty good. So I love it. And the other one is actually Interpersonal Neurobiology Conference. This occurs at UCLA in March. So that's March 14th, and for the few days after that, 14, 15, 16. So check out, that's UCLA. There'll be a website, Matthew, I'm sure, will put the website up for you to see. And heaps of people. I mean, this one is a tribute to Alan Shaw, which is really a fitting thing because he's done such marvellous work. And of course there's be Dan Siegel. Look at some of these people. Drew Pinsky will be there. Sir Richard Bowlby will be there. Who's interested in attachment? Well, everybody. So Bowlby will be there. Jennifer McIntosh, Bromberg. Oh, look at these wonderful. Lou Cozzolino, my good friend, he'll be great. We'll go out to lunch. Pat Ogden, Judith Shaw will be there supporting, and of course Dan Siegel. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. That's my weekly update. I haven't been around for a couple of weeks, but I've been enjoying Christmas and New Year, and I wish you all the best, and see you next time. So back to you, Matthew.
Thanks so much, Richard, and it's great to have you back on our weekly reports. I'd just like to remind our readership of our Facebook page, and I'll just put the link up there on the video. This Facebook page is updated every day with some new bit of information about research and findings. So if you're keen to keep up with what's happening in the world of psychotherapy and neuroscience, then our Facebook page is a good place to start. I'd also like to just sort of provide a bit of an update. I won't actually explain it here because it's awfully complicated, but the Stuart Hameroff and Roger Penrose quantum theory of mind that they proposed probably about 20 years ago now has been sort of reviewed quite robustly at the moment. Even today there is a debate happening in Amsterdam about this theory. This is the theory where microtubules within neurons have a quantum ability to calculate, and that the basis of our consciousness is founded on these quantum calculations that happen on a scale much smaller than neurons. It's a very interesting theory, and if you wanted to know this theory, you can go to a post that I previously did. I'll put a link again below this video, and I'll put a link to all of the new reviews, including the criticism about this theory. But it is very interesting to consider that, you know, possibly our consciousness and the foundation of our brain activity happens at a much finer detail than neurons and glia, that actually within neurons and glia there could be a quantum process happening. Anyway, if you're interested, check that out. We've also got a recent article from our news editor Maria on how reading can change your brain, change your neural connections, and it's just very interesting to consider that when you sort of step into a novel, you may not be stepping into certain characters within the novel figuratively, but actually biologically you can be modulating your brain, changing your brain structure as you step into the story. So that's another interesting read. Now, as per usual, we want to know what's happening on Shrink Wrap Radio, so we're going to go over to Dr. Dave. Thanks, Dr. Dave.
Hello, Matthew. Thanks again for giving me an opportunity to speak here again about my upcoming podcast, which will be number 386, and it will be an update on mind-expanding substances with Dr. Ralph Metzner. And Ralph Metzner is a graduate of Oxford and Harvard College, I guess it's called, rather than university, but he did get his PhD there, and he was a graduate student with Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, who later became Ram Dass. So this is a very interesting interview and update on the state of mind-altering substances and possibilities for psychotherapy. And this is a topic that I think should be relevant to everyone who's interested in neuropsychotherapy. I think the view from the inside is every bit as important as the view from the outside. That is a phenomenological viewpoint. And I share with Leary and Ram Dass and Ralph Metzner the belief that psychedelics or mind-altering substances do have positive potential to be of value in psychotherapy. I think there's research that's shown that. Fortunately, there's starting to be some more research. Things are opening up a bit in this country in terms of people being able to do such research after it having been closed down for a long period of time. And I think the new openness to marijuana with the legalization of, first of all, for medical use in California and Colorado, and I think about 21 states, and Colorado now being the first state to legalize it for recreational purposes just about a week ago. So all the data is not in yet, but there is the possibility of a big boon for Colorado in terms of tax revenue. So I think this is an important topic. I wanted to reach out to Ralph Metzner because of these developments in relation to marijuana, but then he's got such a rich background beyond marijuana. He's a recognized pioneer in psychological, philosophical, and cross-cultural studies of consciousness and its transformations. We don't dwell a lot on this book. He's written a lot of books, but we do touch on it. It's called The Six Pathways of Destiny, and I found it to be written very well and it's short and yet so comprehensive. He writes really well. He's a very, very bright person, and he gives an overview that's very deft. Well, I could go on and on, but that's my report for this week.